not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read the summary. And Bernanke states the dual objectives of price stability and maximum employment are generally complementary. Indeed, at present, with the unemployment rate elevated and the inflation outlook subdued, the committee judges that sustaining a highly accommodative stance for monetary policy is consistent with promoting both objectives. However, in cases where these objectives are not complementary, the committee follows a balanced approach in promoting them, taking into account the magnitudes of the deviations of inflation and employment from levels judged to be consistent with the dual mandate, as well as the potentially different time horizons over which employment and inflation are projected to return to such levels. Thank you. I would be pleased to take your questions. Now, the first point here, and this is going to come out with the questioning by Ron Paul, but the first point to make here is this dual mandate that the Fed is citing, which is their mandates are price stability and full employment. They're lying about the unemployment rate, and they are lying about the inflation rate. So they are lying about their mandate. The inflation rate is much higher than they are stating, and the unemployment rate is much higher than they are stating. So in my opinion, the Fed has failed miserably at their dual mandate. And of course, that's not very hard to figure out. If you're printing money hand over fist and that money is going to government spending, then you're going to have a high private sector unemployment rate, and you're eventually going to have very high inflation as well. So in my opinion, the Fed is an utter failure at both of these mandates. And the only reason that that's not apparent to everyone is that they're just simply lying about the numbers. Now, let's go over and look at the questioning of Mr. Bernanke by Ron Paul. And it begins with a question about whether Mr. Bernanke does his own shopping.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bernanke, if you don't mind, would you tell me whether or not you do your own shopping at the grocery store?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you're aware of the prices. But, you know,
I think perhaps Mr. Bernanke maybe should take some courses in lying, because he's not a very good liar.
this argument that the prices are going up about 2%, nobody believes it. You know, and the old CPI says prices are going up at 9%. They believe this. If people on fixed incomes, they're really hurting.
Okay, so essentially what Ron Paul is saying is, Mr. Bernanke, you're a liar.
The middle class is really hurting because their inflation rate is very much higher than the government tries to tell them, and that's why they lose trust in government. But you know, this whole idea about prices and debasement of currency, if you loan me $100 and in 2 years from now I gave you 90 back, you'd be pretty upset. But we hand back money back that's worth 10 or 15 or 20% less, and nobody seems to be able to do anything about it. It's very upsetting. But it's theft. If I don't give you your full $100 back, if you loan me $100, I'm stealing $10 from you.
So, in other words, Mr. Bernanke, you're a thief. Okay, so in so many words, Ron Paul has said, Mr. Bernanke, you're a liar and you're a thief.
Somebody's stealing wealth, and this is very upsetting. But you know, in January at one of your press conferences, you said that you sort of poked a little bit of fun at people to downplay the 2% inflation rate. But if you say it's 2 and I say it's 9, it's compromised for the sake of argument that it's 5%. That you said that if it doesn't hurt you unless you're one of those people who stick the money in the mattress. But where are you going to put it? Are you going to put it in a CD and not make any money at all? So this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't encourage the savings, and it just discourages people. But I do want to make a point about prices, because prices go up. That, to me, is not the inflation. It is one of the bad consequences of the inflation, which comes from the increase in the money supply. And that's one of the bad effects. But, you know, you took over the Fed in 2006. I have a silver ounce here.
Okay. So this is highly symbolic. He is showing the silver bullet to the vampire. This is what is going to finish you off. He's showing it to his face. And this is the exact time that they did a coordinated, planned, and highly organized takedown of the silver price, exactly 10% in 1 hour.
And this ounce of silver back in 2006 would buy over 4 gallons of gasoline. Today it'll buy almost 11 gallons of gasoline. That's preservation of value, and that's what the market has always said should be money. Money comes into effect in a natural way, not in an edict, not by fiat, by governments declaring it is money. But why is it that we can't consider, the two of us, an option? You love paper money. I think money should be honest, constitutional, it's still on the books, gold and silver, legal tender. Why don't we use it? But why don't we allow currencies to run parallel? They do around the world.
So this is a very clear challenge to the banking establishment. There's no question that this is highly symbolic, and you can see by the look on Bernanke's face that he is really being called out here. He's been called a liar, he's been called a thief, and now he's been shown the weapon that will destroy him. So back to the silver chart